'Cause you're hot, then you're cold.
You're yes, then you're no.
You're
in, then you're out. You're up, then you're down. I just feel like I'm putting my little teenage US voice.
Same.
You
Change your mind.
like a girl changes clothes.
I love Katy Perry.
Yeah, you pee a mess like a bitch. I would know. All right, welcome back to Girls to Women.
That my best friend. She a real bad bitch, got her own money. She don't need no nigga on the dance floor. She had 2-3 drinks, now she twerking. She throw it out and come back in. That's my best friend.
It's not an episode if we don't start singing.
Right?
Just saying.
We love it.
I have a question for you.
Oh, okay. Straight off the bat.
Do you date for money?
Yes.
Yes! Round of applause for the authenticity. Yes.
Yes.
Would Cassie a few years ago have said that?
No.
Why not?
Because I was unhealed and because I would date, I think most of the time I would just date for validation, to be honest.
Oof.
Like if I truly was to be honest.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, like it was like, what do I need that I'm not giving myself?
Mm.
And most of the time when I would find my next guy would be like when I'm escaping something big or a shift in my life, and then instead of like facing it front on and actually like working on the problem, which is obviously myself, I would just like get someone else, like a guy, to come in and try and get him to make me feel better.
Distract from
but
the real problem.
Yeah, but in reality, it just made it worse. And then like, obviously the worse you feel, the worse your frequency is, the worse people you're going to call in, right? Because like your boundaries, your standards, everything is just lower.
It's a terrible spiral.
It's really bad. And so like I noticed that with, especially like the later half of my 20s, oh my, I was dating some really interesting characters.
Would you say some men didn't have jobs?
I would say like a good few, yeah, like at least 3 at one point did not have jobs. And so like I am now sugar mama. The fuck is that?
Yeah.
And I was just okay with it. I'm like, yeah.
Not now.
No.
Not
and
now.
Like,
Back
look,
in the day.
I wasn't actually that okay with my actual long-term relationship that it happened with, because it's not like he wanted me to be that. It just happened that way.
But it was a subconscious want from him.
I don't know what it was.
That's what a wound is. It's if you don't know that you're consciously aware of it, it's a subconscious want.
I don't know what it was.
It's to fill the mother hole.
Yeah, okay. I think it maybe was a little bit about that. But at the same time, it was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so it felt wrong. Like the divide was off.
Yeah.
And so it was fine for my little flings here and there, because I did have a couple of like 6-week flings with
you
guys.
never really
with no
take them
jobs.
seriously.
No, that was just a bit of fun for me to just like not focus on like how depressed I was, when really that didn't help. Kind of just made it worse.
The therapizing that's going on right now is amazing.
Damn, self-aware queen. But yeah, then when it was like a longer term thing, then I was like, okay, this has got a lot of self-destruction going on.
Then
and
it
so,
becomes a real issue because you're thinking about like marriage and kids.
Yeah, and it was because I always felt like the masculine. And so I don't care what people say. Like you can be like, oh, no, I don't care. It's like equal 50-50, but it's not.
I like to break that down because it's kind of like, yeah, we can be equal 50-50. 50-50 means you pay for my entire life and I be me.
I'm giving you life.
I give birth, you pay for everything for that child and for me.
Yeah.
That's 50-50.
Yeah, 100%.
That's 50-50.
Yeah.
You buy the house, you pay for the house. I live in the house.
Yeah.
That's 50-50.
Yeah, I was going to say get cleaners, but like I'll cook in the house. I like cooking.
Yeah, I'll get a chef assistant. I ain't doing the fucking cleaning.
Get a little sous chef.
Shopping anymore. I'm getting a sous chef. Right? I'm getting
a little sous
chef.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun.
But
I want to be a homemaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And the reason why I wanted to just open with that straight question is because I bet your bottom dollar, if I asked a lot of women on the street that question, hey, do you date men for money? They'd be like, oh, no. And then they would justify.
Yeah.
But then if I said to them, so would you date a homeless man? No. Well, why not? Would you date a man that has no plan, no money, no job? Well, no. Right. So you are dating for money. Like, let's just be really straight and own the authentic truth of the feminine that deserves to be spoiled.
Yeah, 100%. And so like when we, like this is another thing we got to like differentiate, right? Because like we're saying money, we're not saying like multitudes of money. We're just saying money, right?
Money.
So like money can be a different thing to everyone, right? Like
stable job.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it's like multi-millions.
Yeah. Like, because even like where you're at in life and like where you're at personally, right? So we're in different phases, right? Because I'm like a bit behind work-wise. So like what I'm looking for is probably...
Not even behind. We don't use that language. Everyone's on their own timeline.
Yeah, I'm on a different timeline. I like that.
Yeah.
Different timeline. Mental diet. So I'm on a different timeline. So like my idea of like what I would be comfortable with is probably like a lot less than what you'd be comfortable with. Yet it's still, to me, like not lowering my standards.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want someone who's still established enough.
That's important.
Who's going somewhere and who we can like build together. I find that really like endearing. But like, yeah, if a guy had, this sounds really bad, but even if a guy was like in a 9 to 5, nah.
Again, because that's not your timeline anymore.
Nah.
Cassie hasn't been in a 9 to 5 for 7 years?
7 years.
7 years.
I need to have the same values as someone, right? Yes. And where we're going in life. Yeah. So obviously that means you need to sustain our life. You need to be able to travel and travel nicely too.
Because that's one of your values. You love to travel.
Comfort, right? We need to have nice homes because I'm not staying in like a shit home. I'm also not staying in like a hostel. So for me to uphold that lifestyle that I give to myself, he needs to be able to do the same thing.
Yep.
And I'm not saying 10 times the scale of me, but like above me, I still want to feel led by someone.
Yes. And this is a thing I feel like a lot of women disregard is that you need to look up to your man. Look up to your man.
Yeah.
Means that you I
don't
know what is happening.
We need to do a whole episode of just cutting to like funny words.
I swear I said to the girls after ayahuasca, I feel like all my past lives are coming out. The other day, Cassie, I was like, "You on a church?" I was like, "I'm from New Jersey or what? Like, what is happening?"
There's a lot of
everyone's coming out of me right now.
I'm like, who am I gonna meet?
Right, but you need to be able to look up to your man, which means that you need to respect him. He needs to be able to lead you. And so for me, part of that is if you're uncomfortable saying, "Oh, I date for money," you should at least be saying, "I look out for a man who is financially responsible and literate." Yeah. Financial literacy is everything, I tell you.
Because imagine, right, you could say this, or you date like a trust fund boy who's dumb, right? So to give you an example, I dated this guy. He wasn't dumb, but his friends were. They would like throw like Cartier bracelets on the floor. I've been out with guys who like will just purposely like pour out bottles of Ace champagne because they can.
So stupid.
And I'm like, you are the dumbest idiot.
That's an ego problem.
Yeah, I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Would I date you? Absolutely not.
Right, because you don't respect them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So like, yeah, respect doesn't just come from money. It comes from like a few things. Exactly. But money is definitely one of the things that will, very quickly you'll lose respect for someone.
100%. And even you can still have that love there, but it's not the actual intimacy love that you could be with them. You could love someone for the person that they are.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to like heal them and fix them, that's also an unhealed version of love.
Yeah.
Because again, that's you coming from your wounded side.
Exactly.
Right? Like Jordan Peterson says it the most beautifully. Women long term, with the data that we've seen over the many years of this research, says that they can only date equal or above.
It's so
we
true.
cannot date below.
We cannot date down.
And that's just a fact of life. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. What does Sadia Khan say? For our men, we need the 3 A's. Attraction, adoration, and admiration.
Yeah, it's so important. Yeah.
How could you admire a man that's making half as much as you?
It would be hard.
And so the craziest thing is we're seeing the biggest wealth transfer of like the previous generations with women out earning men. Yeah. We're going to university, we're getting the highest paying jobs, we're starting the businesses, which is beautiful. But the dating pool for those women is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. And so you're seeing women having to sacrifice the monetary to date down financially.
Do you think it works if the woman is like naturally more masculine and she goes for a femme man?
Yeah, but you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, so as in like they're very like, okay, these are our roles. Like the man is just femme and like it's okay to do that, and the woman is just a hustler.
I do think long term, because if you incarnate in a female body, for me, you want to experience feminine energy. And so I feel long term, there's going to be some kind of uncomfortability in your body for the beginning. And for a few years, you might be like, no, it's fine. But it's also not a man's natural state in his masculine to be in the feminine, to be in the emotional nurturer, provider forever.
Because we know a few sets of couples like this. I could have a few on my hand.
I don't see them being like that for the next 20 years and it working though.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
For a season, right? Not for a lifetime.
Yeah.
For a season, yes. But the polarity of the genders, when I say genders, masculine, feminine energy, that has to recalibrate back to its natural state.
Yeah.
You got to think like everything needs homeostasis. That's just a scientific fact. And so for me, if I'm like building a business, which I'm doing challenges right now and writing books and blah, blah, like I'm in my masculine. I'm hustling.
You need someone to like outshine you
I'm not
or
even
out-masculine
looking.
you.
I'm not even looking at men because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a man right now.
Yeah.
Which is fine because that's the energy that I need.
Yeah.
So I'm thriving.
Yeah.
But when I meet my husband, I have to be in that girly, giggly European mode.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. Right?
Yeah.
Because I want to attract the omega. I want to attract the
100%.
masculine that's so masculine.
Yeah.
I can't be in this hustle era.
And we're not saying, by the way, that like women shouldn't work or like
Absolutely not.
This is like, because I think people will be like, oh, well, what is she bringing to the table? It's like, no.
Besides
Besides
childbirth,
childbirth
are you fucking kidding
And
me?
like life and just like femininity, which is
and life
apart from everything else.
apart from everything else.
But like the right woman will have her own thing going on regardless.
Yeah.
And it's like she can sustain her lifestyle.
Mhm.
She's good,
Mhm.
but she needs you to be above that so that she
Yes.
can still look up to you.
Yep.
That's really what we're looking for. So like, you know, if you're not really playing in the same field as her, like what do you expect?
Don't play in that field then.
Yeah, go
Like,
for someone below you.
You go train off the field until you're ready to come into that
Yeah.
match. Do
And
you know
that's
what I
why
mean?
like, you know, my ex is with someone like that now and like your ex is I don't know if he is.
in
but,
their,
like, yeah.
in their, yes, they
Yeah.
are. In their tax brackets, yes.
And they feel
that's
like they're like
perfect.
the providers now.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's perfect for
Yeah.
them because that's how it should have been from the beginning.
From the get-go,
But
yeah.
we were all together in those couples to learn those lessons.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, that's so true. Like since that, no way would I date
No.
down.
Yeah. And so I'm like, that's a blessing,
Yeah.
right? That is such a blessing because imagine we did that in our 50s. Exactly. Which you see a lot of, right? So what Cassie said is totally right. We're not saying don't work. We're business owners. We're contractors.
Yeah,
we work. We
yeah.
work. However, with our right masculine man, the feminine gets to be like, oh, I get to receive. It's not I don't have to work at all, but you can work from a place of passion and care and joy and love instead of I need to pay the bills. I need to pay the rent. I need to pay the mortgage.
Honestly, it scares me so much. Even like the amount of women I talk to who like have kids and struggle because the guy's wage is not enough. So they have to work themselves. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I want to be so comfortable with my man that like when I'm giving birth, I can take a year off.
Yep.
2 years off even.
Yeah.
Whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like, and so that is important to me.
Yep.
If you're with someone who's earning less than you, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I think this is a very prevalent conversation for people in the modern dating world to be having within the first 3 dates.
100%.
Yeah. And I heard an amazing relationship podcast the other day of a woman who coaches women on this specifically.
Yeah.
And she's like, you need to overcome the guilt and shame that comes with you saying that you need a man to provide for you financially. There is nothing wrong with saying that.
100%. Just like men want a freaking beautiful young girl.
Exactly.
What's wrong with saying that?
Exactly. And do you know what? The less that I work, the more time I have to take care of myself and to look amazing for you.
The less stressed I am by your antics.
The better our relationship is going to be.
100%.
Yep.
The better the sex will be as well.
Yep, exactly. We'll feel like we're provided for, so the intimacy will be there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she says first 3 dates, get it out on the table. And
Yeah.
because Chris was interviewing her and he was like, well, what if they like, you know, they get a little bit ruffled? She's like, well, they're not the right guy. And he goes, that's totally fair.
Do you know what's funny? Remember when I think I had this conversation with you quite a few months back now, and I would have said to you like, what, you ask people that on the first date? And you were like, yeah. And now I completely get
Yes.
it because like every date I've been on since, I have asked those questions. I've had those conversations.
Yep.
And they've been great.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like maybe he is on the same page as me, or like,
Filter.
yeah, they're great. And it
Filter.
so far, no one's been weirded out by it. But if they did, I'd be like, all right, cool.
Because, well, this is the thing. Like, if you really are attracting the kind of man who does want to be a masculine provider and really step into his role,
Yeah.
then they're going to love that question.
Yeah.
And then right back at you, they might say, do you want kids?
Yeah.
Do you want to be raising the kids? Or do you just want to be like building your business only? So that also opens the playing field for them to be like, hey, I'm also looking for a feminine that is going to be softer at home. Like, is that you?
Yeah.
And then you can just get to the root of like, do we actually work?
Yeah.
Do we actually work?
Very quickly as well.
Right?
Yeah.
But I just feel like the main thing with this is we need to stop lying to ourselves.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, it is like an uncomfortable conversation. Like,
It's
I would love
ingrained.
to, we should do that. We should go onto the beach one day and just ask women, like, do you date for money?
Yeah.
I'd be very interested in the
Do
responses.
you want to date for
Yeah.
money? Right?
Yeah.
Especially if you were raised by a single mom household where it was like, superwoman, we can do it all. Then remember we had that hyper independence episode that did really well.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's because then it gets ingrained in us. Like, we don't need anyone, but
Yeah.
girl,
That independent woman story, like I told myself that for so many years. It's just like, oh my gosh, I can do it. Like I love this. Boss bitch, boss babe energy. Like I want to be like so rich and all the shit. And now I'm like, nah, I just want to chill and like have my passive stuff and just be like a princess taken care of.
Yeah.
It's such a shift. And it's like when you start to like love yourself again, you come back into like who you are as a like as divine feminine. Yeah, it's so nice. Even like wearing pink again and shit, like it's nice. It's nice to be girly. And I feel like when
you've definitely shifted a lot.
Yeah, right. But the further you get away from it, the more, you know, these people, the people that like kind of dress wacky and like, it's because they're so against the system. They hate everything. They hate life. They usually hate themselves. And that's why.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And so people will like result to like
there's a suppression of the true self.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like everything they could, even people being a cat, for goodness sakes, or a dog. It's like you'd rather be a cat than admit to yourself who you actually are.
Yeah, and what it is that you actually want.
That's freaking tapped.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Look, saying the truth sometimes isn't easy, but it is always liberating. That's the thing. Honesty first. And I think for me, I've definitely flipped a massive 180 switch, which is great because I went from being like, oh, look at all my Amexes that I can flex to I can't wait to be on my husband's Amex.
Yeah. Well, I think I've only known you like this.
You saw me at the switch.
Yeah. I didn't see you before because I can't even imagine you like that.
I know. I know, it's so weird. All my students are like, I cannot imagine. No. I'm like, and so you shouldn't be able to because that's called evolution.
Yeah.
Right? That's 100%. What evolution is.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. I think we like leave it there for the girlies. Like, if anything, if I can be a coach for a second and put on my little coach hat, go away and grab a piece of paper with a notepad and pen and just ask yourself, do I want to date for money? And just sit with that. And if you do, write all the reasons why. And if you're like, no, I don't leave it at no. Open yourself up to the possibility of it. If I admitted that I did want to date for money, what could my life look like and how could I feel if I allowed myself to be supported?
Oh, that's good. Even like going down the different pathways of if you don't date for money and if you do, like your life outcome.
Consequence versus vision.
I did that a lot in Australia where we would like do the consequence and then do the vision. Yeah. And like, it's so easy to stay in consequence for like 5 years. With vision, it's like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. How bad is that? That means we just love the negative.
Yep. There's a negativity bias with humans. So go do that, girlies. Drop in the comments if you are totally okay with saying that you date with money.
Yeah, and
we love that.
Own that shit.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should definitely do that video of like asking people.
On the beach.
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I like that. All right.
Bye.